to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lapped Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 258 of the Lapped Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I'm doing great because I'm on vacation and am recording this in third person because I know I'm going to be doing great when the time this thing drops. So I'm excited to bring you guys a best of show tonight. But before I do, make sure you go roast the competition. Be the first to the finish line with 5 Lakes Angry Brew. Angry Brew is a massively caffeinated, amazing tasting, high octane power pack fuel to get you to the finish line all day, every day. When you need a power up, reach for Angry Brew coffee with a punch and use code LAPPED, LAPPED. Get 10% off at checkout. Yes, all that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed last week's show with Dustin Albino from jski.com. Had a great time talking about some Xfinity racing, playoff racing, all that good stuff with him last week. And let's see what else is going on, man. Some new things, right? We got a new schedule to talk about, some big changes, and can't wait to do that with you guys in a couple weeks once I'm back and ready to hop behind the saddle. That said, like I said, it's going to be a bonus show, or not a bonus. I wish it was a bonus show, a best of show tonight. Got a couple interviews to drop in for you guys. Let's kick things off. A while back, couple shows ago, Matt Tifft joined, and it had been a minute since we talked to Matt. And since Matt's an Ohio State fan, Ohio State recently lost, I figured, hey, let's get Matt in the mix. So here's a recap of Matt Tiff's interview back on episode 237. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 6th appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He's raced in all 3 National Touring Series for NASCAR. He is now a NASCAR Cup owner. He's a big fan of the school down south. Welcome back to the Lap Traffic Podcast. Matt Tiff, what's going on, brother?
I think you've had me on too many times. It's probably a mistake on your guys' end.
Oh, Matt, let's check this out. So you were last on season 3, episode 147. Tonight is season 5, episode 237. So we can't let another 100 shows go by before you're back on.
No, I agree with that, and I'm probably a big reason you had another 100 shows go by that you didn't have to interview me in there, and probably kept the ratings up by not having me on here. So that's probably smart planning.
Oh man! Well, listen, a lot's gone on over the last 100 shows with you. So let's start with the health side of things, because when you had to make the announcement that you weren't going to be able to drive, I was like, this can't be the last we're going to hear from Matt Tiff. So how are you feeling? How's the health side and all that of things going?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Luckily, I'm sitting here 2 weeks away from being able to drive. So fingers crossed here. 6 months free of seizures to get back into a street car, which is the first time since Martinsville in 2019. So that's kind of crazy to think about in itself for driving a street car.
Yeah.
Things have been really good. Things are taking a turn for the better there, and hopefully it stays the same. It's a battle. You fight with treatments and lifestyle and stuff like that you got to figure out. And I've had to do a lot of learning in that. So, one big part for me was coming out with the diagnosis, and people knew I had the seizure and stuff like that before. But really opening up and saying that I had epilepsy, it took me. I was diagnosed with it in January of 2020,
okay.
And I did not announce it until January of 21. So it was a long time that it took me to accept it. And then really Thanksgiving-ish, like Halloween, Thanksgiving-ish, when we got to 2020, I started talking about it a little bit more openly with friends and close family and stuff like that, just to kind of say, like, yeah, I do have epilepsy. Because they kept asking, when are you getting in a race car? What
Sure.
are you doing? Because at the same time as the team, and so all this stuff was coming out, and I felt like, hey, I finally do have an identity back in NASCAR, and we can get into that more later if you want. But,
Sure.
I think when I had that little bit of a feeling that I was going to be back into racing, I felt like, okay, I can kind of open back up about what has been going on. And I still didn't announce it until January because I was just so scared of announcing it. And I think a lot of people have that too with epilepsy. I mean, you look up and down of the the celebrities and athletes who have it, there's a lot, and it's not very much talked about because it's really scary because it is a very terrifying disease, but it's also an invisible disease. And so one thing that happens with it is, I'm no different than the Matt Tifft I was when I was driving, but people look at you different with that. And so that's a big thing. It's like I'm still myself. I haven't changed. We go to these racetracks, and I put down my notes just like I'm the driver to help out, whether it's BJ or another driver we have in the car. And I'm doing all the same prep work. I'm doing the sponsor work, obviously, with the team, but I'm still the same guy, but I just, there's been 14 minutes in my life of convulsing that's totally changed my life. So that's a weird deal with it because you get labeled into it, and really it's like, well, I'm still the same guy, and that's one big misconception about epilepsy. It's like you're not. Some people have them every day, but some people like myself are fortunate to not have them as often. So. It's just it's a life-changing deal, but at the same time, I think I want to spread the awareness of what you do to help people. The Epilepsy Foundation to go see when someone is having a seizure, what to do with them. But then also that we're still people, man. I mean, it's still the same. It's an electrical shortage, an outlet that goes out, but it's not, it's not like you're talking to a monster at all.
Sure. No, God, no. Well, listen, man, that's a crazy story. And I'm so glad that you're doing better. And, that's crazy. To put it in perspective, this short little blip on the timeline is kind of just throwing things into a whirlwind for you. But, that's the crazy thing for me when I hear a story like that. And it's awesome that you're here with us, physical presence and from the sports side of things as well. And we're definitely going to get into that kind of stuff. But before we do, another stellar season by the Buckeyes, making it to a national championship game. Alabama's just in a league all on their own, but you guys are just the kings of the Big Ten. I'll say it. We couldn't even play you guys. I still wonder what was really going on back there.
That was a smart decision. You know what, though? I will say about that, I am shocked that they kept Harbaugh there. I was beyond shocked.
I was beyond. I'm like, I wanted it to work. I really did. I'm like, all right, here we got a guy coming from that played at Michigan, success in San Francisco in the NFL. Like
it was.
How is this not going to work? And it hasn't. And it's just like at this point, it's just mediocrity. And
what's strange about that to me is I understood the first 3 years or so because you get a lot of prospects, you're bringing in people to the school, right?
Sure.
And over time, you'd think that would be his strong suit, is getting people in, scouting talent, doing those sorts of things. But continually each year they get worse, and that means that you're scouting worse and worse and worse. And the guy that had that program, is kind of responsible for that, in my opinion, because you want to play with, before being Urban Meyer, you want to go play with him. For Michigan, it's obviously been bad for a while against Ohio State, but in
general,
otherwise
it's been bad.
Right, but it's still. It's been at least close, or they've been a good Big Ten team otherwise. And so that's why it's so weird to me when you see somebody getting worse and worse and worse each and every year, COVID or no COVID, before that it was still the same trend.
Yep.
You got to scratch your head and go, what are we doing here? And them signing him to a massive extension is like, all right, well, I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah, no, like you said, those first 3 years were pivotal because it was his name recognition alone was going to bring people in, and now it's like, all right, what are you going to do with all this talent? And not much is the answer to that question.
Completely. Yeah, it baffles me. And to be honest, though, I've been a Browns fan forever, and you play the Steelers and you get beat up by the Steelers and stuff. And honestly, I know for them, I've talked to some Steelers fans, and they're like, we do want the rivalry. Like, we want it to be like the Ravens and stuff, which obviously is the old Browns. And they want that rivalry back. And so now you kind of have that sneaking back in the NFL with the Browns being better. And, it's fun. But when the Buckeyes just go beat up, like I want them to win every time, but you want it to be at least entertaining, not just a complete blowout every time.
I hear you. Oh, man. All right. Well, let's talk a little NASCAR, Matt. Talk to us about Team Live Fast, how that all came to be, and what it's like as a NASCAR team owner now.
Yeah, it all started with I hadn't been doing much, after the being out of the seat, and quarantine was just about to start. We didn't know that yet, but
Right.
so BJ and I, we'd always have a habit of going to Buffalo Wild Wings, just hanging out. Normally we go for Sunday Night Football. So a lot of people don't realize that. I guess I should start with that. So BJ McLeod. He started driver coaching me when I was 12 years old, and so I went to his finish line school with Mike Lozier down in New Smyrna, and so BJ was the main driver coach there. And so he and I got together, and right after that first school I did, we started talking about doing speed weeks in his super late model program down there, because he just won the World Series of Asphalt in New Smyrna with the super late model team. And so we talked about it, and with some persuasion, we finally got him to do it, because he hadn't really done that before very much. So we got together and started running some races down there. And, a lot of people don't realize, because they're like, where's, Matt Tifft and BJ McLeod on paper don't look like they should be together.
Right.
Just from myself and him, we look like we're from different worlds, but, he's been a huge part of my career, has been a big advisor on what I do, from step to step to step in my career, and even in my personal life. So, we've known each other now for, I guess, a dozen years. So it's been a long time. And, he's become like an older brother to me, but, it was like that in a lot of ways. And now it's just kind of like we're friends who get to own a team together. So it's kind of funny how things have shifted, because he's always like a mentor and an older brother. Well, now being in the position we are, it's just kind of like we're on the same plane, which is really neat. So, he controls a lot of the competition aspects of the team. I do a lot of the sponsorship side and things like that. But, he was a groomsman in my wedding, which a lot of people don't know either.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, so we've been together for a long time. And so, like I said, we go to Sunday Night Football at Buffalo Wild Wings up in Mooresville. And we just sit out on the patio and get some wings, and started talking about, like, hey, we should look at getting it a charter. And, we're half-heartedly, looking at this. And this is before, now you got to remember, this is before charters were the hot thing. This is when Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin were, that's not even a thought.
Sure.
The whole pandemic was not a big deal. The whole George Floyd deal that turned into the NASCAR stance and the Confederate flag and everything, and all the stuff with Bubba. None of this has happened. You got to remember, this is before any of this, before the whole world changed in about 2 months. So we're just dreaming up this idea, and so we're like, yeah, that would be cool. We'll get a team together. It could be something to look at for the next few years to do, and. So the pandemic happens. I get a call, and he says, so that was probably February, and this is in June. And of course, we're still hanging out, but I get a call from him, and he says, I don't want to say anything, but I think something's happening. And I said, okay. He goes, well, I'll give it a 10% chance. I knew he was talking about the charter.
Sure.
And he's like, I'd give it a 10% chance of happening, but let's just see where it goes. And so, we get down the road, and Go Fast Racing is partnered up with Joe Falk, who we're still partnered up with on the charter side and the team side there. And so Archie is looking to sell his charter. And I mean, when I tell you there were 1 million people in that deal, there were 1 million people in that deal. But it just it worked out, because Joe wanted to stay in racing. And we wanted to partner with somebody that had experience and some know-how in the industry, and knew the executives there. And so we just talked with him, and honestly, it was just the perfect match there. And when it came down to the end, it was a shark feeding frenzy between ourselves. Oh yeah, between ourselves, Justin Marks, Michael Jordan, and Denny going together. And, you heard talks about Floyd Mayweather and Colleague and all these people trying to get in. The three main ones were the first ones that listed there. So they're trying to buy, they're trying to get in. And we got it. We got the paperwork in there, and we signed it during late summer, and we could not. And so we're watching these things go on, and I'm telling you, we got it by 2 days later. I don't think we would have gotten this charter.
Wow.
And so we're going on, but here's the deal: we can't talk about this. So, so we got an NDA. We can't talk about it, which is fine. And so we're not talking about anything. So Michael Jordan and Denny come out with 2311 racing. Trackhouse comes out, and we're just sitting here on a charter, on a team, and we can't hire people. We can't do this. We can't do that because we can't talk about it. Which is completely fine because we knew we had the team, and we're just sitting here like, wait till you guys see this. Like,
right?
wait till you see this shit pretty much. Like, you're waiting for something to drop here. And so it's kind of fun because we're waiting, like, you guys are watching all these big people come in and like wait for this. And so we got to announce it, and it's been great. The process of becoming an owner is so different because it's the personnel side, it's the planning side, it's the business side. And I've always loved business. I'm obsessed with it. My parents were entrepreneurs. All that stuff is so interesting and so fun to me. The challenge of building a company, of doing things correctly there, of having a business plan and looking at 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10-year deals, 30 years down the road, we want to be here still. And so coming in as the newest owners into NASCAR became such a cool challenge because we knew coming into this deal that we were in a weird year, right? Because when we first started talking about it, the next gen car was planned for 2021.
Right.
Again, no pandemic, no weirdness, like nothing going on in the world. So we're planning on that if we're going to do this team. Well, all of a sudden, that goes out the window, right? We got to go buy all the cars this year that are going to be obsolete for next year. And then we're going, okay, well, we need to go buy Go Fastest cars. So we call up our team. We need some equipment. We need all that stuff. So on top of that, still this year we got to buy the next gen cars and do that stuff. But we're in this place of, okay, we're not starting in a position of 2311 or any of those guys, but we are planning on taking this year by year and building partnerships, having that the alliance with Stuart Haas Racing, where we're on the ground level, to be honest with you, but it's a start. It's a start with Ford Motor Company and the next gen car that's coming out. It's a start on everything, but the calculated risks that we're taking, the calculated approach of what we do and don't do, it all makes sense because this is a deal to be here 15 to 30 years in the future, to where we are able to be here for the long haul. We are committed to NASCAR as long as NASCAR is around and is it smart to be in. And so for that, Live Fast Motorsports was born. And, our goal this year was to be able to run around the top 30. And I think our average finish is somewhere around 29th to 30th right now. So we've been there. And we just came off another top 25 finish at Talladega. And you look back at some of our short track runs, and we've had really good speed. We haven't executed at some places, but, we got to do some work on the mile and a half, the big track stuff with the 550 package. But things are coming together. The guys are gluing together. The chemistry is getting better there. And that's what you need for a first-year team, just minimize mistakes, grow and learn. And then when we take on this new challenge of the next-gen car, nobody in this industry knows how to take on this thing exactly. We're all going to be guessing a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be almost an even playing field for a short period of time.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, you have the big teams that'll grow and surpass other teams, but the parity is so much better in there, to where we will have a chance now to where you're not having a new group of people come in together. Of course, you always have turnover. That's a part of any business, but we should have the same core group of people that come back, hopefully, and you say, okay, well, let's get to work. Let's go plan out what we do with this car. And then it becomes a deal of, all right, how do we, instead of being 30th, how do we become 25th? How do we become 20th? What does our trajectory look like? And then that's how you kind of plan out the next few years as this new car is, making its birth in the sport.
Absolutely, man. Wow, what a story there is too, man. So with having to keep it hush-hush for so long, your turnaround to get a full team together from personnel, from crew, guys at the shop, did you get almost a turnkey with Hilaire's shop and all that? Or, how did that piece, once you guys were able to actually get rolling, go?
Yeah, so we had to keep it so quiet that luckily BJ had a shop with his Xfinity team. We still share the shop there, so luckily it's a good space up in Mooresville, big enough to be able to house both teams in there. It's a really nice shop. And so we're able to house both teams in there for right now. But yeah, it was a tough period because you can't go hire people. We talked to a lot of the Go Fast guys in there, and so we have a few guys that came from there. But we have a lot of outside people that came in too. And for those who don't know in the racing industry, you'll have a guy in the off season for a couple of weeks, and then he'll find a better position somewhere. So there's constant people coming and going and coming and going. You're trying to build cars. You're trying to move stuff out of storage from another race shop to your race shop. At the same time, you're using their fab shops and hanging bodies and stuff. So we're doing all this stuff while we're trying to go sell sponsorship to the first race. And we're sitting there and we're going, oh gosh, how much do we need to go get to the Daytona 500, and how much, what do we need to do to get to that race? And honestly, that was where it's fun with Dave, our sales guy, Dave Marrero, and myself to go and just say, okay, we have to sell X amount to go get to the Daytona 500. We have to do this, have to do that. And we did it. We were able to do that. And we calculated everything off of worst case scenario.
Sure.
And luckily we've been able to be successful with how that's gone. As far as meeting our goals and exceeding them, actually, for sponsorship and for finishes and things like that. But going into a season with a brand new team, you just don't know. And that's the biggest thing. So bringing on a veteran crew chief like Frankie Kerr in there, he's done such a good job of leading the guys, of working with, less of a budget than we would all like to work with. Sure. But, that's the fun challenge of a startup in any business, whether it's racing or, whether you're making clothes or whatever the heck it is, you make things work somehow. And we've been able to do that. And as we grow, we'll be able to expand and be able to, get more funding, which buys speed, money buys speed in the sport. And then it's the people who execute on it. But, it's been such a cool process of seeing it come from an idea, talked about over some wings, watching football, to come to today being one of the 36 charters in the Cup Series. And not just being a charter in there, because I want to make that very clear. We buy all the sets of tires every week. We have a Stuart Haas pit crew. We have we are a full-fledged effort every single week out there. And that's the commitment that BJ and I have, is to be eventually an RCR or somebody, or the Rouse or whoever it may be, 10, 15 years down the road. Maybe the next deal speeds that process up. But we're here to, not just be there, but to be able to go and compete. And that's our goal each and every week.
No, I love that, man. So let's talk about BJ for a second. This is a guy that, if you're a casual fan, the name BJ McLeod may not strike a bell with you as a casual fan. But BJ's been around a long time. He's had his Xfinity team. He's had his Cup team. He's put drivers out there to get them in front of the camera and in front of sponsors and all that kind of stuff. Talk about BJ's role with this as with what he brought to the table from doing this with his previous team.
Yeah, I think that was the key thing for me, was BJ, not only our friendship, but him being in the Xfinity Series for the last 5 years. But also past that, he was in the Truck Series, ran K&N Series, crew chiefs and ARCA stuff. Went back to my days in the late models. And a lot of people forget too, mine and his first truck owner start, my first Truck Series start as a driver, was at Martinsville together. So kind of weird. My career started and ended at Martinsville, and then led to both of us being owners. So I don't know. Some weird.
There's some interesting things there happening.
Yeah, that I don't know what that exactly should be called, but whatever. Yep. I'm not. That's too deep to go into here. But he's so what people don't realize about BJ. They see him and they see this big muscular guy who's doesn't fit in with the mold. But what they don't know is, not only on the driver's side from just being in lesser funny equipment, but he's won hundreds of races down in Florida in the super late model divisions. He pretty much rewrote the rules of down there when you see 12, 13-year-old kids racing in late models. The reason that they had to adjust the rules was because of BJ, because he went down there and won everything and was 13 years old. And he was the guy that really changed the landscape of stuff down there. And so a lot of people don't know that. So the history of stock car racing and short tracks down there really was in large part of how much it changed to now was because of BJ. And so that's really cool. But another part about him is he's so good with people. He's such a good leader, and his vision and stuff of how a team should be, and really just dealing with adversity and making something happen out of nothing. He's so good at that. He's so good at having the plan of where things go, and really just knowing what we're supposed to do. From a okay, are we going to go buy this spindle because it's a pound lighter, or do we just keep it because we know we're only going to pick up one spot and that's going to cost X amount of dollars to do it? So he's so knowledgeable about that side. That's ridiculous. We were at Martinsville and we had something happen to the upper control arm on the right front, and he called it right away. And then he comes inside to the garage and we fixed it, and we're all just sitting there like, any other driver would be something broke. BJ's like, nope, this broke. Here's where it is. Here's how to fix it. So he's so knowledgeable at the cars because he has built a car inside and out a million times. So that helps a lot too when it comes to the competition side, because he can go with the car chief and the crew chief there and look at what they're doing and know how you adjust things, how you change things in there. And really it's like having another kind of mechanic overseeing things on the payroll, except for he's not on the payroll, which makes it a lot nicer for us.
Absolutely. Well, listen, man, so and this is something I want to hound in on for the listeners. When you talk about your goals as the team, top 30, had a great day at Talladega, 25th. That's a great day for you guys. Brought the car home in one piece. Like that's solid. Looking forward through the rest of 2021, do you have a few tracks circled that you guys are putting in extra effort at places that you might have a better chance to maybe get a top 20, top 25? Or are you guys, hey, this week's Kansas, we're focused on Kansas?
Yeah, I think if you look at kind of backtracking there, we really look at the 750 package as our best shot to shine there because our cars do very well at those racetracks. And that just came from the Go Fast team when they bought those Stuart Haas cars. They just did very well with them. We apply our own setups to them. But, the biggest thing there has been when you look at Phoenix, Martinsville, and Richmond, unfortunately, the results don't show the speed that we've had. We've had easily top 25 on average speed at those places throughout the race, sometimes top 20. We have just not completely executed at those tracks. So when you look at the ones coming up of going to Dover, of going to the summer race where we go to short tracks and road courses, those are really the tracks that we need to hit on and do a very good job of, because that's where we get our top 25s and get our top 20s. Obviously, the super speedways, I think we've finished 24th and 25th now, so those are good places for us. So really, it's just being able to execute his strategy correctly and do all those things to finish in the top 25 or sneak out the top 20 once or twice a year. But you look at the Coke 600 and things like that, where if you can keep things going, have decent speed, you can finish in that same category if you do things correctly and you execute. So it all comes down to execution. I know I keep on saying that, but it really does. Sure. You realize it more as an owner than you do a driver. But when it comes to the mile and a half tracks, we've been a 32nd place car, sometimes 33rd, and we need to figure out a way to get to 30th or 31st. That's really the top end of our budget of where we should be. And then after that, it's hopefully attrition, maybe a little strategy, whatever it is in there that gets us inside to get to the 20s in there. So really for mile and a half, it's getting into the, breaking the 28th, 29th place finish. That's a win for us there. And then for short tracks, it should be 25th or better for a win for us. Anything after that is just it's gravy at that point.
That's awesome. I love it. Matt, let's wrap it up with this. Tell everybody where they can follow you, the team, the sponsors, give some plugs, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So myself, it's at Matt_Tifft, Tifft. We do a show myself every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
I can't believe I forgot to ask you about that. Yeah, talk about that real quick if you got a minute.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. So we do a live show on Twitter every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday called Life in the Fast Lane Show with myself, my co-host Keith Migra, and so that's a lot of fun. It's a 1 hour show. So we talk about a little bit of racing, but mainly sports, pop culture, stuff going on. So it's a fun show because you get to see who I really am. It's more of an unfiltered version of Matt, which is kind of cool to see different beliefs and things and just stuff going on in my takes on. So I guess I'm going to really look at trying to expand on that, but then also what makes it fun is the people I work with there, the whole Rickroll video that came out.
Oh my God,
week.
that was great.
Yeah, that was off a dare of the 2,000 retweets on it. So I'm a man of my word. I did it. Which was hilarious, extremely uncomfortable, but absolutely hilarious to make. So I had a great time with it. It was fun to step outside my comfort zone with that. But anyways, you can find all that great content at Matt_Tifft, and then same on Instagram, Facebook. And then for the team, every social media channel is at Team Live Fast, even though we're Live Fast Motorsports, it makes it just easier to type in at Team Live Fast. So we did that. And, we've got some really cool partners coming up over the summer. We've had some awesome partners this year. We're really excited this weekend. As we're recording it, it has not been announced yet, but it will be tonight, which will be yesterday when this thing comes out. So Celsius Energy Drink is going to be on the car as a primary sponsor in Kansas for their first ever primary sponsorship. So we're really excited about that. I've been drinking their stuff for years, and they've been a partner the whole year, but they stepped up to go take the primary spots. So that'll be coming out through the socials all week, and it's just fun, man. We've had a lot of fun with different partners, different people, and that's the cool part about being a small team is you really get to work with people one-on-one. There's no boards. There's no different director heads. It's just me. It's just me and them, and then on the competition side, it's BJ and them. And so it's really cool. It's been really fun.
That is so cool, man. Matt, it's been a great story to hear. It's great to have you back. It's great to have people talking about you, to see out there and all that good stuff. I am so excited to watch this team and organization grow. And hopefully, like I said at the start, 100 shows don't go by before we catch up again. And we're talking about your top 20 finishes, man. It's awesome. Thank you for being such a big supporter of the show too, from the early beginning here and into season 5. So it's been awesome to get to know you over the last couple of years. And like I said, I'm excited as all hell to watch this grow for you guys.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, like I said, it's just been a lot of fun going into this role, and I appreciate you guys having me on here. I'm sorry about the ratings hit that this will take, and but no, seriously, congrats on the show and everything you guys have been doing. It's cool to see something like this going from the end of the season. So, congrats to you guys, and I'm excited for y'all to keep on doing this for a while and keep on gaining on. So, I'm proud of you guys and happy to be on here with you.
Appreciate you so much, man. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Matt Tifft, owner, Live Fast, for calling into the show. Matt, good luck this weekend, the rest of the season, and we'll talk to you soon, brother. Stay healthy, too.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, there's a recap from Matt's interview earlier this year. Everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Follow on Twitter, @LapTrafficPC. I know I've been behind on some giveaways after going nonstop with those, so I'll get some coming out to you guys in the very near future here. Don't forget, if you want a koozie, Lap Traffic stickers, all that good stuff, all you got to do is go to the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Fill out the contact page, and I will get those out to you. And while I'm gone, yes, I know no lucky dogs or anything like that, but I still am updating fantasy. So you can check out the website. If you're in the playoffs still, make sure you send me your picks, all that good stuff. So I got one more for you guys. Earlier in the year, Josh Berry was on the show. So that was back on episode 239, Josh Berry. So let's relive that one. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. He's driven just about everything under the sun. He's got over 75 late model stock car victories. He's currently the driver, the number 8 with JRM in the Xfinity Series. He picked up a win a couple weeks ago at Martinsville and finished P2 this past weekend at Darlington. Welcome to the Lap Traffic Podcast, Josh Berry. Josh, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, man, for sure. So there's so many things we could talk about, and I bet you got stories for a month, so I know we're never going to scratch the surface, but listen, first things first, where did you put the clock?
So it actually hasn't made it home yet. That was thankfully my second one that I won at Martinsville. So the one from the Xfinity race has been at Junior Motorsports for a couple weeks, but we're getting ready to pack it up and bring it home here probably this week.
Nice, very cool. You got a couple spots you think it might go?
Man, I don't know. I don't have a real big house or anything, so I'm gonna still working on that exactly. And I got a 1-year-old that is into absolutely everything right now.
Sure.
So we need to keep it out of her reach a little bit too.
Absolutely, I get that for sure. Well, listen, man, you've won some track championships at the local levels, late model championships. For the fans out there that maybe don't know your backstory all that well, walk us through your career getting started and up until running in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, so basically I started racing when I was 8 years old in go-karts. Ran those for a number of years, moved up, ran a 4-cylinder stock class, and then actually got a legend car and raced legend cars for about 3 years. That was probably till about 2009. So by that point I'd been racing about 10 years. And basically when I was 19, racing legend cars at the National Fairgrounds is actually where I raced at on the quarter mile there. And did iRacing a lot. Still do. Still enjoy. It's a hobby of mine. It's just iRacing and online racing over the course of the years. And
sure.
And built a relationship with Dale Jr. on there a little bit. Nothing. I never really thought anything of it, other than that he enjoyed it racing on there, and so did I, and we just kind of became friends. And basically that friendship kind of turned into him offering me an opportunity to test his late model stock at Motor Mile Speedway in Virginia. They were at a little different spot with the late model program at JRM, and I just was in the right place at the right time. I got an opportunity to do a test, and the test went well, and that turned into a couple races. And a couple months later, I moved to North Carolina and began working for JRM, and that's been over 10 or 11 years ago now. So
that's crazy.
So it's really a crazy story. Thinking back on it now, I've just been very fortunate to even race a stock car, a late model or anything. And like I said, we just kind of worked, and a bunch of people over the years, we've just worked and kind of built this late model stock program into what it is today, which is really one of the best in the Southeast, really, in our area. And we've won a ton of races and championships, and last year a national championship. So that all those things kind of led into this Xfinity opportunity this year. I've had a couple Xfinity opportunities here or there over the years, and done some different things and different opportunities here or there, but really this was the first substantial real shot for me, getting 12 races all consecutively, and I think it's went pretty well.
No, I mean, it's been incredible. I want to get to that in just a minute, but first, just to kind of piggyback off of what you had said, that is an incredible story. Just iRacing with Junior, and boom, 10 years later, here you are, running for him and all that kind of stuff. That's so crazy. Talk a little bit about, what it's like to have grown with JRM's, their late model program, and how that team's developed a little bit over the years since you started working for and racing with that program.
Yeah. So, in 2010 was when I moved to North Carolina, and really at the time at the late model program, we just had one car and was racing sporadically here or there. And really we just kind of started there with that. And at the time I actually worked at Junior Motorsports on the Xfinity team as like a tear down and a parts washer. And I washed the cars after the races and stuff. So I kind of I've kind of done everything. over the course of the year. So this, I think that's what's made this year so special. But yeah, the late model program, we just kind of in the early years, we just kept working and trying to get better. I think me, I was young but not real young, but pretty hands on with the program. And it just took us a couple years to really get the people in place and get the cars where we needed to, and really through like in the mid, like I want to say 2014, I think was our first year. We brought in some new help. Ryan Schaefer, he's like a great friend of mine, and he's been with the program ever since then. He come in, and we actually brought in William Byron for a second late model team, and that was his first stock car opportunity. And me and William raced all year at Hickory and some other places, and that was really when we kind of turned the corner with our program. I think we started. We were able to run two cars and bring in some more people and step our deal up, and that was really kind of the beginning of the run that I've been on in the late model car. Like I said, we've just been just racing all over the Southeast. It seems like every year our goals have changed and things have changed what we're trying to accomplish with our program, but it's been a great home for me. I really love that racing. I love the people, and I love what I get to do, and just running the short track stuff.
Sure.
It's been a great opportunity for me, and obviously, I've always wanted to move my career up the ladder, but the reality of it is it's just it just takes a lot of funding and different things, and I'm so grateful for what I've been doing.
Yeah, no, like you said, like just to get the first, right place, right time, and it takes a lot of right place, right times, and right sponsors, right money, all that kind of stuff. It's so incredibly difficult, but it can happen, which is the cool thing. All right, so 13th start Xfinity Series, and you pick up the win, man. Talk about Martinsville a little bit, the emotion behind that race, that win, and how that is really fueled, midway here through your stint in the first half of the season.
Yeah, I think when I went into this opportunity, I had circled Martinsville, as a great opportunity for us. I've got a lot of late model experience there, and actually, I'm still the reigning defending winner of the big late model stock race there from 2019, and so I had a little extra confidence, I feel like, going into that race.
Sure.
But
that's awesome.
I think, I just know how tough the Xfinity Series is, and it's so difficult to win these races, and just to be perfect, you have to have a great car and great strategy. Your pit stop's got to be great. Your restart's got to be great. So, I think going into that, I felt like it was a great opportunity for us, but, by no means did I feel like we were going to, lead the most laps and win the race. I think it was definitely possible, but, we just executed. I think it was it was obviously a big deal for me personally,
sure.
and for my career, what we're going to do from here. But, it meant a lot to finally put the 8 team in victory lane. They've been, that group had been formed for, I believe this is the 3rd year now, and had a bunch of different drivers. And, this year is kind of the closest they've been to some normalcy with, only a couple drivers. And, it just meant a lot to get those guys in victory lane. It was a big deal to win that race. And it just was just an amazing experience. And like I said, I think we really, it really built my confidence up a lot. It was a big weight off my shoulders to win that race. I think, I'm coming off of my 2020 season, in the late model car. I won, I believe, 28 races.
Wow, that's incredible.
28. It was like 28 races out of 40 starts, and a national title for the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts weekly series.
Yeah.
And so we're coming off all of this success, and I think our expectations are, were a little high. We felt like that this opportunity was something special could happen. And really through my first five starts or so, we had a lot of like just random events happening. We had really each race we felt like we were fast enough to run top 10, if not top 5, and just had mistake after mistake. And heading into Martinsville, I think, like I said, I was a little more confident, but after the start of the season we had, I think, I just knew how tough it would be, but we were able to get it done.
That's so cool, man. You almost backed it up this weekend at Darlington, finished P2. From the TV, man, it was eventful. Not maybe as chaotic as the truck race was, but it looked like it was going to start out that way. What'd you see from the driver's seat, man, as you worked your way up throughout the field there and all that on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, man, it was a blast. Honestly, that track and the package that the NASCAR Xfinity Series has right now works so well at a place like that. And we had a really good car. We knew we were kind of in the hole. We had a flat tire at Talladega late, and then lost a lap, got the lap back, and then it rained, so we didn't finish well at Talladega. So that affects your starting spot for the following week. So we just knew we just kind of had to be patient early on, and just take it as it went. And early on, I felt like we had a really good car, and we just worked a little strategy, had some things go our way, and then ultimately I thought we were on pace to finish 4th or 5th, which would have still been a great day. We had a late caution, pit crew nailed it, gained me a couple spots, and then they were racing for the win. So it was like I said, it was a lot of fun. It was fun battling with Justin there at the end. I think, everything with the the restarts and whatnot, they're so critical and
chaotic.
And chaotic. Yeah. And I think, I did fairly well. Justin was able to get by me on that one and hopefully ended up being the difference. But still, second was a great day for us, and we're not going to hang our head too much.
Sure, no, and now you're qualified for the last Dash for Cash race here coming up this weekend at Dover. Everything I was able to do some research on, it doesn't look like you've turned a lap at Dover. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but how do you get ready for a track that you either have zero or very little experience at, and going out there and competing for that Dash for Cash?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. I'm working on it, and as of right when we're talking, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe I'm going to run the ARCA East race on Friday, which will be a good experience for me to be able to get some laps before the Xfinity race. But it's been difficult. Without practice, I think it's definitely it's hard on someone like me, because I think we waste the beginning part of the race just kind of getting acclimated to the track. Absolutely. And the car and the track combo. I think that puts me a little bit behind some of my competitors in that aspect. But our R8 team and Taylor, they do a great job preparing the car, and really we've had great cars on nearly every race, and they do a good job of getting us close for not having practice. And I feel confident that Dover will be the same. Like I said, hopefully we can make all the laps in that ARCA race on Friday, and that'll help aid the start of our race on Saturday.
That's great. No, that's cool. All right, now listen, what's coming up for you after the first half of the Xfinity Series? Where will we be able to still see you race throughout the summer?
Yeah, so right now we're planning on running the late model stock throughout the summer and into the fall, and we primarily base our schedule off the Cars Tour. That's a late model stock and a super late model tour that is based in their headquarters is in North Carolina, and we race all over North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina. That's kind of what we base our schedule off of with our late model program, and then towards the fall we'll be at a couple of the big late model stock shows like the Martinsville 300 in October. So I'll be short track racing. Working on trying to find some more opportunities in between there to to stay in the top 3 series, but we'll just have to see how that all plays out.
Absolutely. Well, I sure hope to see you running full time, competing for this championship here. That's for sure. Listen, real quick, give a shout out, sponsors, where everyone can follow you on social media and all that good stuff.
Yeah, like I said, thank you again for having me. I've got pretty much all my social media is at Josh Berry with Twitter and Instagram and everything like that, and just this whole experience this year has been so much fun. I'm so grateful for Dale and LW Kelly, everybody at JRM for giving me an opportunity, and all our sponsors that help make that happen. Tire Pros, they've been an exciting new partner of ours that's really enjoyed having me and my story, and we've had Chevrolet, Filter Time, Hendrick Motorsports obviously does a lot for JRM, helping it get us going, and late model team. We have All Things Automotive that's been a long sponsor of ours, and iRacing's on the hood actually a bit as well. So we've got a lot of great partners, and this year really it's been hard to believe how well it's been going, but it's definitely been a blast.
That's great, man. Well, listen, I've had a blast. Thank you so much for being a part of the show this week. I really appreciate it. The Lap Traffic Nation, Josh Berry, driver the number 8 with JRM. Josh, good luck this weekend. Look forward to having you back on the show sometime down the road, man.
All right, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, I'll see you.
Oh, Lap Traffic Nation, that was Josh Berry from episode 239 earlier this year. And hey, it's a bonus. I want it to be a bonus show. It's a best of show. So we'll wrap it with that. Everybody make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Go follow on Twitter at LapTrafficPC. Things have been crazy. I keep saying it the last 6 weeks. And hopefully when I get back in the saddle here, we can get back to a little bit more routine. I can have a little bit stronger presence because I feel like I just haven't been there that much as of late. So I got one more week of these things for you guys, and then we'll be back live. Well, not live, but sort of live for episode 260. So don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya.